the annual festival, La Strada de Pastelli, which is the chalk art festival for Washington County and very unique to all of the Portland metro region. I want to thank you for your time and your talents that you bring to this event, because we could not do it without you. It is quite an asset to our community, and it takes a lot of people behind it to make it happen. So we need you at Tualatin Valley Creates. We need you at this festival. Thank you so much. And while I have your attention, I want to introduce you to some of the other volunteers and helpers that bring this festival to life, because we start about a year ago. We started planning for this summer's event. And so around the room, my name is Razieh Roshan. I'm the executive director for Tualatin Valley Creates. I'm also a professional chalk artist. And I have been with this event since 2019 when it started. I am the event coordinator. You're going to see me running around with a red fanny pack, and I wear this flashy hat, so it's nice and sparkly from across the street. You can find me anywhere. And generally, I park myself in the info booth, which is at 2nd and Main. But otherwise, I do have a walkie-talkie on me, and I'll have my phone, and you'll be able to see me across the street because of my flashy hat. So I want to hand it over for an introduction from Rob.
Thanks, Razieh. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Ruthio. I'm a volunteer with TV Creates for the last 3 years, my third La Strada de Pastelli. You can probably find me walking around the festival looking something like this, staying cool. My primary role is logistics lead. I will be primarily based around the info booth at the corner of 2nd and Main, at least during setup, initial morning stuff, coordination throughout the day. And as things get going throughout the day, I will probably be hanging out with Dylan, doing kids and community chalking and other activities along 2nd Avenue. I also will be floating around. And if you have any problems or questions, please feel free to contact me. I know everybody who to contact at the city or the rest of La Strada if you need help with anything. So thank you all very much for volunteering with us. This should be another fantastic weekend. Thanks. And I'll turn it over to EJ. EJ, go ahead.
Hi, I'm EJ I work with the Hillsborough Downtown Partnership, and we are the Main Street program that helps connect downtown businesses and residents and volunteers like you to other things that are happening in downtown. We work really hard to amplify and elevate the things that are happening, and we're really excited to be the host for the La Strada event for this year and more years to come. You'll see me, I'll be at the info booth, the welcome booth, I think is actually what the title is on it. And we will be giving out information and answering questions about downtown specifically, and the other things that happen in our cultural arts district in downtown Hillsborough. And also we will have the fun merch that you can buy so that you can represent your new favorite event for the whole year and really support what's happening down here and be part of it. So stop on by and buy a t-shirt and ask me any questions. And when you're checking in at the Hive, that's our office. So you can find us there on other days of the week. And I'll pass it on to Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary Bouret. I'm the volunteer coordinator. This is my first year with La Strada. I'm awfully excited about it. I've never been to a chalk art festival before, though I've seen quite a bit of chalk art since joining this group. You can find me most of the time at the Hive, which is located at 233 Southeast Washington Street. And I just want to remind all the volunteers that I would really like you to come and check in before you start your shifts. And now over to Katie.
Hi, my name's Katie Devlin Che, and I am the Marketing and Development Specialist for Tualatin Valley Creates. This is also my first La Strada, so I'm very excited to support this amazing event that we put on in our community. I will be at the information booth at 3rd and Main, and I will be there with any information generally with the festival and also our ongoing programs and other support that TVC offers our community throughout the year. And now I will pass it over to Carolyn.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline Green, and I am the chalk artist team lead. This is my very first year with La Strada, so I'm super excited about that. And you'll be able to find me in front of La Stuff Antique shop doing my own chalk square. Take it away, Bill.
Thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you, volunteers, for donating your time and your talents. My name is Bill Hernandez, and I am the team lead for all the music acts. La Strada is not just about all the great chalk artists around the world. We have fantastic music set for both days. You can find me on the Civic Plaza at the main stage, hanging out with all the musicians. Like I said, it's my second year, and it's just so much fun. With that, I'm going to pass it over to my good friend, Jane.
Hello, and thank you, Bill. And thank you. I just want to echo what Bill said about thanking all the volunteers. We just couldn't do this huge event without you. My name is Jane Dahl, and Razier recruited me back in 2018 to coordinate all the vendors, art vendors, food vendors, and we've extended it this year to health and wellness vendors. My team is able and ready to help us with traffic and vendors and all the things that are related to that. After you check into the Hive, come and see me. I am also an artist, a jewelry artist, and I'll have a booth numbered 13 on 2nd and Main across from the courthouse. And I also am a staff member with Tualatin Valley Creates. I do all the programs for the organization. And I think that's it. So I'm going to turn it over to Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm an artist and illustrator, and I think in 2018 or 2019, I was a vendor at La Strada, and then last year I was an artist at La Strada, and now I'm going to be the head of community events. So there will be a huge section across all of 2nd Street with kids activities for the whole community and an interactive mural. So you'll be helping me on one side the first day, and on the other side the second day. So visit me at the booth on each side. It'll move on both days. So it'll be a big tent, and visit me or Rob over at that tent on 2nd Street.
Fabulous. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for wearing your weekend attire so that we can find you. Oh, yes. Fabulous. So that our volunteers can find you easily, and we will see all your smiling faces. What I want to do too for our volunteers is give you a little context. Why is chalk art and performative art important, and what is La Strada? And so going back 500 years, artists that were doing frescoes and large commissions in big estates and in churches would actually recreate what they were drawing from the interior spaces out on the cobblestone streets. They would take pastels and charcoal and colored stones, and they would redraw these beautiful images on the streets where the average person could see it. They were bringing the art to the people. And that's why we have a chalk art festival and all these different performers and all these different art vendors, is to bring the art to the people. And in 2000, as Jane mentioned, in 2018, we as a community body were looking at the requests from so many residents in Washington County saying, we want more art. We want a big premier art festival. We want a place that we can congregate and celebrate an inspiration. And that is how La Strada was born. And so from now, we bring in professional artists from all over the country. We celebrate our local talent. We have local singer-songwriters who are coming up with new productions. And we have this entire world-class performers on the stage, from Bollywood dancers to break dancers and traditional Chinese dancers. And so you'll get a chance to see all of that this weekend. As Jane shared, again, local art vendors. And these are folks who are creating their own craft and bringing it to our community. And some of these art vendors are traveling outside of our community and across the state. What I want to do now is orient you to downtown. EJ, do you want to give any other information about Hillsborough downtown?
Yeah, again, we're really excited to be the host site for this event that serves our county and even beyond. And where we are in downtown is the historic downtown area, where 100 years ago, horse stallion sales used to happen. So it's been a gathering place for a long time. And, you know, we are going to be on it's our main street. A lot of downtowns have a main street or something similar. So it's just this historic place where there's a lot of businesses here. And our city has decided that this and the rest of our downtown, which stretches a mile in each direction almost, is our culture arts district. And we have lots of things that are happening, but really this part of downtown has become the living room of Hillsborough and beyond, and really a place where we can center together and be part of a community. So we're really excited to have this happening right here, and you guys will see how everything kind of connects. And I'll tell you more about that after Razier tells you other stuff.
Yeah. And for all of our volunteers, EJ is a wonderful resource for being the liaison to the downtown merchants. Some of the businesses have been there 100 years. Some of them are brand new. So they will be experiencing this summer for the first time as well.
Yeah, and another thing that, and I will, Razier, say that another thing that we're doing, besides we'll be selling the merch at our booth, our information booth, and really answering questions if people want to know about what's opening up in that behind that papered windows or things like that are happening, so people will be able to come by and ask us that. And then my staff also, we take a lot of pride in keeping downtown really clean, and we'll be working hard especially since we had a 4th of July parade just a week and a half before this event. We're working hard at getting it really clean now and making sure there's lots of beautiful flowers and their plants, that they're watered and looking gorgeous. And then we'll also be working during the whole event to make sure that on the event footprint and all the surrounding areas that we're picking up garbage and we're hauling it away and sorting out recycling and making sure that it's a tidy place. So if you see something during the event that needs care, come find one of the Hillsborough Downtown Partnership staff or volunteers at the welcome booth, and we can help with that.
Great. Well, I think that is a perfect transition. What I want to do now is I'm going to do a screen share and pull up the layout of the festival. So bear with me in our tech switch over. Can everybody on screen see the layout? I see nods, and hopefully nods at home. So as EJ was mentioning, the backbone of the event is Main Street. So here where you see the pink squares, that's Main Street traveling east and west. And then all of our vendors and our community activities being here on 2nd Avenue and on 3rd Avenue. And what Bill mentioned for the main stage, so the Civic Center Plaza is an anchor at the westmost stretch of Main Street. And so the main stage where Bill will be stationed is here, this orange block that you can see on the layout. These layouts are going to be printed out at the Hive when you come to check in at the Hive, so you can put one of these in your pocket. And then thanks to Rob, we also have a very big printout that we'll have on the wall as well. And if you like, you can pause the video here and orient yourself with the layout. All of this will be closed to traffic. So if you look at the layout, all the red barricades, this is all for pedestrian safety. We close off the entire footprint to any vehicles during the festival. And it's also closed off entirely over Saturday night. So we're keeping all of the pedestrians safe, and especially at night, because the restaurants will still be open and the theaters will still be open. And so having all of those barricades at those intersections. The other pieces that folks have mentioned are the info booths. There's one here at 2nd and Main and one here at 3rd and Main. And the one at 3rd and Main is our merch booth, where EJ and many of our Hillsborough Downtown Partnership friends will be, where Katie will be. The one here on 2nd is where Caroline has her chalk artist check-in in the morning on Saturday, where I'll station myself. And the one here on 2nd Avenue, center of the block, is where Dylan will be. And this booth does move. So we started out on Saturday morning here at the north end of 2nd, and then we move it to the south end of 2nd once the north end is filled with all the beautiful colorings by community attendees as they travel in. The other piece that I want to share with you is this yellow block down here. This is where the Hive is located, at the corner of 2nd and Washington. And so this is where you're going to come to check in with Mary. I'm also going to do a quick screen share. I'm going to switch it over, and I want to do a screen share of the traffic plan so that you have a copy of it in your mind. And that way you know what to expect if you're volunteering in the morning on Saturday to help the vendors load in and out, or if you're volunteering on Sunday afternoon to help the vendors load out. So I'm going to do a screen share of that one real quick. And Rob, if you want to add any details about the traffic plan.
If by any way chance you can get a ride or take the train just stops right there near 3rd and or between 3rd and 4th on Washington. If you have a chance to take the train, it would make everything much easier if you don't have many materials to bring. And then when you show up for your shift as a volunteer, you can check in at the Hive, check in with Mary. If you're working logistics, you can come find me at the information booth at 2nd and Main. If you are volunteering with Bill and the stage, you can go find them on the Civic Center Plaza. And if you're helping out with vendors and you're helping out with some of the other things, you can go to the info booth that is at 3rd and Main. Again, the key check-in point is to go to the Hive, right? And so that's where you kind of get your information, get directed on where you're going to go. Throughout the weekend, there will be no traffic going in or out with a very few exceptions. And that's, we don't need to worry about those too much, but there's an opera cart that'll be coming in from the north end of 2nd, just basically backing in to set up for a performance on Saturday. And then they will be leaving shortly thereafter. Volunteer helping with setup on Saturday morning, especially direct vendors to come in, go to your station, get set, unload all your stuff, go park your car, and then come back and set up. That's absolutely critical for the safety of everybody at the event. And Jane, I don't know if you'd like to add a little bit more on that vendor setup.
Yes, and thank you, Rob. After you check into the Hive, if you're on my volunteer team, come right over to booth 13, which is on 2nd and Main. Rosie, if you can highlight that, it's right there. I will be there. And then I can let you know what your role is. Well, you'll know ahead of time, but where to go, where we need you. Thanks, Rob. Back to you, Razier.
All right. I'm going to take this one down. And while we are still sharing screens, I also want to pull up really quickly the Hillsborough downtown parking map. And this way you can also prepare. Thank you, Rob, for driving attention to taking alternative transit, but also for drivers and parking close by. There are a number of parking stalls. I'm going to do a screen share for all of the parking maps, and EJ, if you want to call them out, I'll do the mouse.
So we are going to start from west to east because people coming downtown tend to want to park on the west side. Our visitors are going to want to park there. So if you are driving, we're going to try to get you to park to the west. And those the ones that say 2-hour parking that are in blue, those are actually areas that you can park the whole day on Saturday and Sunday. So I promise, and you can hunt me down if you, for some reason, somebody shows up to give you a ticket, they are not city employees or county employees. So please, this is the lower one is actually a multi-level parking lot. So park in the 2-hour parking there, or park in the 2-hour parking. That is Adams Street. So over there. And then if you're coming on a shift besides Saturday morning, and those, or later in the day, you know, those green lots to the north along Adams are also good spots. On Saturday morning, those will be pretty busy with farmers market shoppers because the parking lot there that doesn't have a color is where the farmers market is for the day. If you need to park somewhere else, or you're getting dropped off or picked up, we'll start with that. If you're getting dropped off or picked up, a great place to do that is on Lincoln Street and 3rd. There's a company there called the Sign Company. You'll see a little covered awning, but there's a pull-off loading unloading zone there that you will be able to have somebody meet you there and pick you up and drop you off. Or there's also, you know, if you want to just walk a little farther, one of those parking lots, those other parking lots off to the west are a good spot to meet you. The parking lots that Razier, go to the one on 2nd.
Okay.
That one there. And then there's one down below the Hive. Are both public parking lots on the weekend. They're not signed very well. It's not super clear, but you can park in those lots on the weekend. They're just reserved for city staff during the week. The one to the north has some electric car chargers too. So if you are driving an electric car, that's a good place to park. But make sure that if you are able, that you try to park in one of those blue parking lots to the west. We would really appreciate that. So our visitors that aren't as able or are hauling 4 or 5 kids along can park a little bit closer. If you do get questions about parking in general, because I think we've seen that people come in and then they ask about, was the place I parked okay? There is no patrols of parking by the city of Hillsborough on the weekends in downtown Hillsborough right now. So there's 2-hour parking throughout the neighborhoods that say on Saturdays that it's only 2 hours. But if somebody's parked in one of their spots, you can reassure them that they can stay more than 2 hours at the event and they won't have a ticket. Just making sure that, of course, they're conscientious of the neighbors and not blocking fire hydrants or driveways and things like that. But I think that might have covered everything for parking. But again, if you want to show that one more time where the Mac stop is,
Yes.
right there in the middle. So this is Mac, several bus lines come through here. This is a really great option for coming downtown. Also, you can bring if you want to ride your bike down or your scooter or whatever, we'll have space where you can actually bring it in and park it inside the hive and leave it in there for the day while you're doing your shift. We'll have our classroom open, and that's what I do is I pull my bike inside and have it inside for the day. So we'd love if you have a way to, whether you want to come on Max with your bike or just ride your bike here, please feel free to do that and we'll find a spot for you. Keep your bike safe inside.
Fabulous. And I want to assure folks too, TriMet is one of our event sponsors, and we inform them about additional security when taking public transit and guards at the stations as well. And I think that that's a good handoff since you left us at the Hive to bring our bikes and alternative transit to the Hive. Mary, would you like to tell us about the volunteer check-in process?
Sure, I would love to. So again, thank you, volunteers. We want you all to sign in. So I'd like you to arrive at the Hive between 10 and 15 minutes ahead of your shift assignment. That'll give you time to pick up a t-shirt and a water bottle and get familiar with the map and where you'll be working. We also have space at the Hive where if you need to leave something behind while you're working, you can do that. It's not 100% secure, but it will be pretty secure. Throughout the day, we will have some snacks at the Hive as well as at the information booth. And the Hive is air conditioned. So if you find yourself having trouble with the heat, or you just need a short break to get out of the heat, come visit me at the Hive. We'll take care of you there. Again, the Hive is at the corner of 2nd and Washington.
Great. Thank you, Mary. And I want to add for volunteers that one of the ways that we help with heat mitigation is we give cooling neck wraps. So you will get a chance to pick your favorite summer pattern and it's yours to take home, along with a t-shirt and some cool buttons and all the other stuff that we give to our volunteers. Speaking of, let's jump into some being mindful of emergency happenings. So all of us as planning volunteers, we go through a big emergency plan. We also get trained on crowd control, but some of the things as our representatives for this event that I want you to be mindful of include lost people and signs of heat exhaustion. So let's start with heat exhaustion. The layout itself, we have a few pieces coordinated in. We have shade tents in the footprint on 2nd and 3rd. We have a permit for the courthouse lawn, which is tree lined and it's grass to get out of the sun and off of the hard surfaces. And there are a number of benches with trees over them throughout the footprint. The city also sets up a mister, which is off of the plaza. So off of Main Street between 1st and 2nd. And the city has a fountain that will be on, and that's on the corner of 2nd and Washington. So across from the Hive, one of the city fountains will be on so that you can, 1, get out of the sun, and 2, cool off and help with any attendees that you see might be struggling with some heat, help usher them into cooler places. There's also a tap, I think it's the downtown tap. Is that what it's called, EJ?
I think it's just the Hillsborough City Water Tap.
So there's a a water refill station at the corner of 2nd and Main for whether it's your water bottle or somebody at the event's water bottle or with a cup, so that you can stay hydrated. If you see somebody who looks like they're having some heat exhaustion, you want to tell the person that you're working under. They're going to tell the rest of us on the logistics team. We'll get city people out there to help monitor, and there will be 2 uniformed officers on the footprint as well. And so there's a lot of built-in safety. The other piece is missing people. And I say people because kids get lost and adults get lost. And so as volunteers during your shift, if you come across a lost child or a lost adult, here is how it works. If it's a lost child and they say that they've lost their parent, then you want to inform the person you're working under. They're going to tell everybody in the chain. Keep the child there for just a few moments to see if the parents come back to that place. Try and get as much information from the kiddo that you can. What were their parents wearing? What color is their parents' hair? Anything that can help inform the rest of the tree line, all of us leads and all of the other city staff and partners from the Hillsborough Downtown Partnership. Then take them to the main stage. They're going to come to the main stage, and then we use a back room behind the stage. It's air conditioning, and they're going to take that lost child into the back room and be with a city staff person, and then they'll fill out an incident report. We make announcements from the stage, hoping to find those parents, and everybody will be on the lookout for the parents. The other side of it is if a parent comes to you and says that they've lost their child, you want to immediately call 911 and start an Amber Alert. That will notify the police officers on site. It'll also send out an APB in the radius. And then you want to take that parent to the stage. We'll make announcements from the stage, and it's the same. We'll inform all of the other team leads and everybody else on all the phone trees and walkie-talkie chains, and so that we can start looking for that kid immediately. You want to get out as much information as you can. What was that child wearing? What color is their hair? What's their name, or how do they like to be called? And so that we can start looking for them immediately. Adults that go wandering from their group, it'll be the same. You want to get as much information as you can, inform your supervisor, bring them to the stage, and then we will try to find their party. The other piece I want to make sure that all of our volunteers know is that you are not hired first aid people. You are not hired security. If it is a small incident, obviously inform the person you're volunteering under, and we're going to work our way through the chain. And there are city forms that we fill out. We fill out an incident report. If there becomes an emergency where somebody is injured, or there's about to be a fight, or something is violent, you can call 911. So we have ways to get emergency vehicles into the footprint, but we do not expect you to be emergency response. Any other pieces you want to add to that, Rob or EJ?
I think the only thing is, again, that encouragement to call 911. There's also a Washington County non-emergency number that if doesn't hurt to have in your phone, but you can feel free, and it's 503-629-0111. But feel free to call 911. The staff that answer those phones are very trained in triaging and making sure that the most important things get dealt with first. But everything that you call there is important, and they'll make sure that it gets dealt with in the right order. And then once you've called and reported something to 911 or to non-emergency, if you can do it yourself, or you can ask somebody that's with you to make sure that the info booth or your supervisor knows, so that we can help direct the response teams or communicate what's happening. And a lot of times 911 would keep you on the phone, and so you can't do it yourself. So send somebody else over to make sure that one of the info booths knows what's happening, so we can help communicate that out too, and possibly meet somebody at an entrance to bring them to you as fast as possible.
Yes. And so along with keeping an eye out, who are the attendees? How are we helping to ensure that they have a lovely experience this weekend is also your self-care. So just as I mentioned, all of those ways to get out of the heat, use the mister, go to the Hive, get into air conditioning. Insomnia Coffee, which is on Main Street, is also our lounge for artists and volunteers. They are on Main Street between 3rd and 4th. And so when you go in your volunteer shirt, you can go get snacks, drip coffee, and also get out of the heat and sit down for a little while as well. And I think somebody mentioned earlier, there are snacks at the Hive and snacks at all the info booths and snacks at the stage as well. Right. Well, the very last thing that I want to share are just a couple of schedule items because people are going to ask. The first thing that people ask volunteers, if they see that you're wearing a shirt, they know you're official and they're going to ask, where's the bathroom? And so there are multiple spots for the bathroom. There are flush toilet bathrooms and family bathrooms in the plaza. So just to the left of the stage, there are multiple porta potty units as well as ADA units at the north end of 2nd Avenue. It's what's the Masonic Lodge parking lot. And then there's also standard units and ADA units right next to Amelia's, which is a restaurant, accessible off of Main Street between 3rd and 4th. And you'll see that on the layout. You'll get a printout of the layout at the Hive, and then you can also rewind back to the screen share of the layout. So that's always the first question. And the other pieces are, when do the vehicles need to be cleared out? So when do the vendors and the food and any other vehicles dropping off stuff on Saturday morning, they all need to be cleared out of the layout by 9:30 a.m. So if you catch somebody in a car on Saturday morning, if that's your shift, remind them they need to be off the footprint by 9:30 a.m. And there are no more vehicles allowed into the footprint overnight. So no vendors that are packing down, with the exception of the police car leaving, and a couple of food vendors will need to go restock their trucks. But otherwise, no general public vehicles into the footprint overnight Saturday night. We're going to be doing the Chalk Artist Awards on the main stage in the plaza at 4:45 p.m. There are People's Choice Awards this year. You're going to see QR codes next to all the artists. You'll hear the announcements from the stage, and then we'll announce the winning artists at 4:45 on Sunday. And we'll do a big picture. So if you come early, try to get people to get there early. We're going to do a big group photo with all the chalk artists. The vendor vehicles and anybody coming to pick up stuff can re-enter the footprint at 6:45 p.m. on Sunday. And so helping to remind everybody, it's a question that comes up, and that they can start coming into the footprint at 6:45 p.m. on Sunday. And that Monday, the streets are still closed on Monday. So some folks get in late after the music is closing down and they're like, oh no, did I miss the whole show? Not entirely, because the streets will stay closed on Monday all day, and it's what's being called the chalk stroll. It's also an opportunity for people to slow down. If there's any guests who wanted to see the artwork but might be immunocompromised, they can come on Monday, and they can grab their coffee from Insomnia or any of the other local vendors right there in downtown, and they can take their time and walk and see the artwork before it actually gets washed off on Monday night. So the time to remember for when the artwork gets washed off is Monday evening, starting about 7 p.m. The streets then reopen on Tuesday morning by 10 a.m. after another street cleaning and after the Public Works department removes all those barricades that you saw on the layout. So when people ask what time do the streets reopen, and sometimes the downtown merchants might ask that, is that the streets will reopen to the full vehicle traffic Tuesday morning by 10 a.m. And with that, so let's do another popcorn around the room for everybody's name, your team, where they're going to find you, and we'll do a big thank you to everybody. So again, I'm Razia Rashan. I'm the executive director for Tualatin Valley Creates. I will be running around in my cowboy hat, but I station myself at the info booth in the center of 2nd and Main. Rob?
And hi, everybody. Again, I'm Rob Ruthio. I'm a logistics lead, and I want to make sure to do a shout out to all our friends at the city of Hillsborough. They have been absolutely fantastic to work with throughout this process. You will probably see them running around the footprint. I think they wear blue shirts, kind of dark blue shirts. There will be all over the place. So if you run into anybody like Bridie or Brenda or Johanna or Jason or anybody else, They have just a fabulous group. Make sure you thank them, but they're also going to be really great partners for us in helping run a safe and wonderful event for everybody. So thank you very much for your time and for being here. You will have a great experience and you'll want to be back next year. Thanks. And I'll turn it over to EJ.
And again, I'm Elisa Joy Payne. I go by EJ. I know a lot about downtown, so find me if you have questions, and you'll see my staff. When they're not in the booth with me, they will have orange vests on that say downtown staff. So you'll be able to pick them out, and that's a way to also find me. If you find one of them, they'll help you find me. And I'm so glad that you're coming. And if you have any questions about downtown or want to know what's happening or want to know how you can be involved in other events that happen downtown, please come talk to me or find one of my staff in their orange downtown staff vest. And I'm going to pass it back to Mary.
Yes, Mary Beret, I will be buzzing around the hive. Make sure you come and check in, get your t-shirt and your water bottle, and I can't wait to meet you. And to Katie.
My name's Katie Devlin Che, and I am the marketing and development specialist at Tualatin Valley Creates, and I will be at the information booth on 2nd and Main. I will be available for general information. If you're lost, you need to find your directions, and also just any further discussions you have about questions you have about TVC. And if you love volunteering, if you want to volunteer with us the rest of the year, we have a bunch of other great events you can help out with too. And thank you again for volunteering with us.
Hey everyone. So again, my name is Caroline Green and I am the Chalk Artist Team Lead. And you can find me in front of the Stuff doing my own Chalk Square, which is located on the corner, I believe, of 2nd and Main. Take it away, Bill.
The team lead, I'm Bill Hernandez. I'm the team lead for all the performers. You can find me at the main stage on the Civic Plaza. I'll give it to you, Jane.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Jane Dahl, and I'm the coordinator for the art, wellness, and food vendors. You can find me on 2nd and Main in my booth, Lucy Ann Smiles Designs, selling my jewelry and also helping you all coordinate the event. And thank you so much. Dylan, over to you.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I will be on 2nd Street somewhere with a big sun hat and some sunglasses and my blue volunteer shirt. Somewhere helping a kiddo do some art. So I'm very thankful for all your help here. So see you then.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being volunteers as planning team members, and thank you for giving your own time and talents. And thank you to everybody watching the video and coming to help us the weekend of La Strada de Pastelli. We will see you very soon.